Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another video. It's time to continue on with the Sword Art Online Marathon with the third part in our Alicization arc. And we are now at the point where the newest subtitle to be added in for the Alicization arc is actually called War of Underworld. It's still in the Alicization arc, but now we have come to the point where we've now gone to the grand scale of this story. And that's why for this part and the next part, we're technically in the War of Underworld. Just a little recap of what happened. Kirito, Yu-Gi-Oh, and Alice have defeated Administrator, but that wasn't enough. Yu-Gi-Oh has died. Alice lost her eye, and Kirito has lost an arm, but has also grown. He's become unconscious. He's technically up, but he has no idea where he is. He's pretty much like a zombie. And now, in this next part, Alice is taking care of Kirito because she feels that at some point he's got to wake up. But we also learn in the previous videos that what was her name? Oh, Cardinal. I was trying to remember the character's real name. Was it Lizareth? I think so. Anyway, Cardinal. Cardinal explains to Kirito that a war for this world is coming, where the door that holds the dark territory in place is going to break open, and a great war of destruction is going to begin. And now Bercoli and the rest of the Integrity Knights have assembled, and they are getting ready to fight this great battle. But we have Alice, who is still trying to get back into the swing of things with her sword since she's been taking care of Kirito for several months. And Kirito's out of it. He's not going to be in action whatsoever. And then on the other side, we learn that the ocean turtle has been attacked by some people from the United States with the leader named Gabriel Miller and his team, who are trying to take control of the technology and possess Alice. While Asuna is now begging and pleading with Kikuoka that she needs to go in there, she needs to find Alice, and she needs to wake Kirito up. That's essentially what we're going into for this part. But this is completely different from what part one was. You know, part one had a lot of setup with this arc, and then we get into the action. But this is the beginning of a continuation of the story, where at the very beginning, it's only very briefly. This whole rest of this season, because the War of Underworld arc is entirely one season, and from start to finish, it's almost nothing but action. Because, like I said, it's a war. You know, lives are on the line. It's just crazy because you have Alice and the Integrity Knights trying to protect the human realm, while Gabriel Miller is siding with the Land of Darkness, trying to take over. And that's another thing that I really got to bring up again, is that we've now come to a point in the series where these fight scenes are a lot more intense, they're a lot more brutal, and there are some very, very creative and very violent actions that happen in this first part that are absolutely insane, but it definitely adds to the tension. Like, these characters are risking it all to protect everything that they love, and it's just crazy. And there are a couple surprises here or there, but I can't talk more of that until we get into part 4, which will be the final part in the Alicization story arc, and then we'll be on our way to the movie. There are a couple of new pieces of music that we haven't seen yet for this story arc. One that involves a great scene with Alice that I'm not going to get into, but it involves her, which is really great. This is kind of the first time we get a real big shift in tone. Even though we kind of got that with the Mother's Rosario arc, now we get something different where our main character, Kirito, the main character that we've followed his journey from the very beginning, is now out of action. You know, and I will not lie to you. If you're expecting to see him do something in this first part in terms of action and whatnot, he's out of the game. He is out of the game. You're not going to see him. So, as a fan, watching that for the first time, and even reading about it for the first time, I was like, okay, how are they going to do that? Because, you know, he is our main character. We're following his story. So now we have to ditch all that and we have to continue following with Alice and Asuna. And I guess you can kind of, get that similar feeling with Asuna since they are a couple. But for a majority, our focus is mainly on Alice and the Integrity Knights. Asuna doesn't come in till way later. So as a fan, did it work? Yeah, I think it did. You want to continue to see what happens to Kirito because his story's not over yet. Oh, no. His story is far from over. But I think with what they did in this introduction to the War of Underworld, he is still involved, but we're more connected to Alice, even though we got her backstory in the first part, and then got to see more of her character progress in the last video. Now we get to see a little bit more and see what Kirito and Yujiro have put on her and how she reflects that. And I think the author did a good job of, making us feel like, okay, we can put Kirito to the side for now. Let's focus on these new characters that we've introduced. And you definitely feel something with these characters. When they're in these fights, you do not want these characters to die. And I think that when a show and a writer does that, when they create these characters that we don't want to see injured, and they put them in these extreme situations, that's just awesome right there. So I like that. I like that too. But then again, though, you still kind of want to see more familiar faces, of the series, and I understand that as a fan, but, when you're trying to do something different, okay, but if you can still make me feel the same with these new characters, then that's okay. And this arc continued, even when I first watched it and read it for the first time, it continued to surprise me all the way. And now that we've entered this war, it just skyrockets all the way to the top, and it doesn't even go down. Like, there were no episodes where I was like, okay, kind of like a filler episode, but it was all great from start to finish. I loved every single episode. This whole, again, I can't rate it because I'm going to do that in the next part. But this whole entire story arc is just absolutely great. And this part 3, definitely doesn't disappoint us with what it's trying to lead into. And another point that I will bring up before I wrap up this video is that they kind of did this in part 2 in the Alicization story, but now when they end an episode, they end it with, the ending using the background, but they still continue to show what's going on in the anime. Like, the credits appear on screen and it doesn't cut to its whole sequence of end credits with music. And with how they do it and the scenes that play up with that are just fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Okay, there are sirens that are going outside. So I think that's my cue to wrap this video up. So I do apologize if you guys can hear the sirens, but at least I got this video finished without them. Okay. I was thinking maybe they would have stopped, but it looks like the sirens aren't stopping. Thank you all so much for watching part 3 of the Alicization arc. In the next video, which I do plan on releasing sometime early, it's going to come out before the movie. I can promise you guys that. Even if I have to record it and get it done the day before the movie. Part 4, the final part of the Alicization arc, and this, well, technically the marathon's going to end with a new movie. Part 4 will come out before the new movie, and then I will have a first reaction video on that day. It'll probably release that night, and that will conclude the Sora Online Marathon. Then we're going to be able to jump into new things. There's a lot of great stuff coming my way. There's maybe one little extra review that I'm kind of wanting to see, but I don't know yet. We'll just have to wait and see. Okay, looks like the sirens finally quieted down a little bit, but even then, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you guys for the finale of the Alicization arc next time.